I see that function over to it in that reappear. It's not the function like a cancer, the time of me. It gets away from soul time on my mind into the fear. Come on, your children, folks, live them to see. Fear is the demon that will not set them free. Find a way to get to the fears for the people that they give the most. And all the fears, no matter how hard you try, it's in your face, like the darkness of the big again. I'd rather fear. Come on, your children, folks, live them to see. Fear is the demon that will not set them free.
And so now you got the new EP with Fishbone out now, Crazy Glue. How did the whole reunion come about? Was that awkward for you? Was it just natural? I mean, how did that happen?
Well, getting back with Fishbone, it was kind of natural. I've been working with him for so long that it's just like seeing your brother and saying, "Hey man, what's happening?" And he say, "Come on and play." And
I gotta ask you though. I got to ask you, though, is this more, this go-around, is it more of a business arrangement, or is it still just like the brotherhood, like you're saying?
Well, it's just hanging with the brothers pretty much, Business-wise, I can't call it a business arrangement because it's not a good one. Fishbone has never made no money, probably will never make no money. But the thing with Fishbone is that, just the pride of doing what we do.
How are your relations with Angelo and Norwood these days?
Oh, they're pretty good. As far as our relationship goes, I'm not wanting to kill them right now, so that's a good thing.
What do you think of the documentary Everyday Sunshine? Obviously, it was more based on Angelo and Norwood than the whole band Fishbone. What were your opinions of that movie, though?
Oh, it's cool. It explains a lot of stuff that went on in the Fishbone days. What happened to Kendall, what's going on with the band, why the band is, what it is. So, I can't be truly mad about it or nothing. You always hope there's more stuff in there, but maybe we could do another documentary and catch up with the other stuff.
I'm ready for it already. Let's bring it. Hey, Rodcore, as a fan, what did you think of Everyday Sunshine?
Based on just what I know about the band and growing up with them here, I thought it was a pretty accurate documentary. At the same time, as a fan, you kind of get bummed out watching it. And, between many conversations with Walt that I've had and, some with John Bingham and some with Norwood, it's just, I know a lot about the band at this point pretty intimately. So I felt like it was a good documentary. It really could have been, and it was pretty long as it was. I mean, I really felt like it could have been 4 hours if they kept everything that they shot in it. Because they shot a bunch of interviews with every single musician that's ever played with Fishbone that you didn't see. They even shot some Year of the Dragon footage for a minute. We thought they might put it in, but it wasn't really necessary for it. And I'm hoping maybe if the documentary gets a good run, maybe 10, 15 years down the line, they'll do a special edition with some of those interviews and some of that other footage that they shot of some of the various members' side projects, too. That would be kind of cool.
Right. like an updated version, right?
Yeah, maybe like an anniversary update at some point. With some of the stuff that they just couldn't fit in this one, and I understand that because it's like I said, this one, as it is pretty long and it covers a lot of ground. But there is still so much more to the Fishbone story. It's an amazing story. In the form that it's in now, I recommend that anybody pick it up. If you want to see the true story behind a band that's just influenced so many people and blew so many people away, and still do. But, you want to see that story from day one. And I think the documentary does a good enough job of capturing just the essence of how everything went down in the beginning.
Yeah, I think one of the frustrating things about the music industry has always been like the segregation within the music industry. Like, for instance, Fishbone. When you listen to them lyrically, and even Year of the Dragon, it was topical to what a young black man in America lives. However, that being said, obviously they were afraid to market it to young white people.
Right.
And they didn't know what to do with you guys. Do you see that dynamic changing in the industry now, or do you think that stigma still exists?
Oh, it's still here. It hasn't changed too much, It's still really segregated. Only place they really don't segregate the music is maybe in Europe.
Right.
Now,
go
ahead. Well, I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say, but everywhere else is pretty much segregated.
Okay, and to add to that, my view is on a business level, I totally agree with Walt. But on a personal level, I think the great thing about the internet and World Wide Web and all that is that you have a chance to bypass all the industry bullshit, which is why I'm glad our band is kind of doing what it is now. Because we made a conscious decision that the music that we do, we want to reach everybody. We're not trying to reach just black kids. We want to reach them and let them know they got a treasurable, valuable legacy in rock. But we want to reach everybody, and we want to do it without the stigma of somebody listening to us and feeling like they can't relate just because they're not white or they're black and they may like just hip-hop or anything. We want to reach as many people as we can reach. And I'm finding without the industry being involved, when you deal with people on a direct man-to-man, man-to-woman level, there's a better chance of you doing that. I've reached, with this band, a lot of people. I've been fortunate to be involved in something that's growing, and part of the fun to me is that, you take all the race stuff out of it. We can all agree we don't like the political situation that's going on. A lot of us like to smoke weed and hang out, and, a lot of us have opinions and thoughts on things that are just beyond race that have to do with the human condition. And the human condition is something we're all suffering in right now, something that's all oppressing everybody. It's the haves and the have-nots. And the sooner that we eliminate race from all that and realize that those that have don't give a shit about those that have not, I think if we got a mission statement as a band, that would probably be it.
Right. I just, and it's funny because I'm starting to see the same thing. I deal a lot in hip hop, and I'm starting to see the same thing in hip hop too. The media continues to dumb down black people. And it's like, even with hip hop, you don't see the most deaths and Talib Kweli is getting the shine that a Gucci Mane or a Waka Flocka or Lil Wayne gets. And then you then you get Lil Wayne spinning off and saying, "Oh, I'm doing a rock record." Well, that was the worst bubblegum crap I ever heard. And people think, "Oh, he's a black rock star." They don't know about the Bad Brains. They don't know about Living Color, 24/7 Spies, Fishbone, Year of the Dragon. And that's the most frustrating thing. Is like, I never saw mass support from the black community for the bands like Fishbone. And it's just frustrating as a fan.
What you have to understand about black people that in our whole history of music, what what happens with us is that we create something, we take it to a certain level, and then we move on. And that's kind of been our whole history of music in America. You know, from the time we revolutionized the blues, we took it as far as we could take it creatively, and then, you know, at some point, some young person was like, you know, I'm going to evolve this into something else and go to jazz. And, you know, we revolutionized that to a point, and at some point, some other young person says, you know what, this jazz is for the old people. We're going to this rock and roll thing now. You know, you go through that, and then at some point it's like, well, we're going for the pop, funk, and soul, and we're going to revolutionize that, and it keeps going. And unfortunately, when the people do that, one negative thing in our community is that we don't look back where all this stuff started with or came from. And that's one thing I wish could change, but I think, you know, more kids are getting into the rock thing, and more young people are merging, like the dubstep and the rock, and, you know, they're doing all these crazy hybrids, and they're just not giving a fuck right now, which is kind of encouraging on the underground.
Right.
And then there's also...
Yeah,
oh, go ahead, man.
No, you got it,
No,
bro.
I was just going to say with promoters, too, historically in America, I know Walt probably has this problem less in Europe, but, you know, you got to look at how promoters book shows. And one thing that was cool to me was, like, last year when we played South by Southwest, I was there waiting for Walt to get there with Fishbone. And Fishbone had a show that was set up with them and Yellow Wolf and Wu-Tang.
Oh, wow.
And I'm like, that's how you need to book shows. You know, you need to have that adventuresome spirit, because, you know, people was there and they saw Yellow Wolf and they knew all his shit, man. They knew all his lyrics and they were singing along. And then when Fishbone came out, it wasn't like a big culture shock or nothing. People dug it, and they were into it, and they were slamming and having a good time. And then Wu-Tang came out, and it wasn't no thing. So, you know, if you throw the shows out to people like that, they'll get it.
I do think that there is an element of this generation that maybe is a little more open-minded. You know, they don't mind hearing the live band and then watching the MC, you know what I mean, on the same show.
No doubt.
Whereas, you know, and that's part of the evolution of hip-hop, too, because hip-hop is such a young culture yet, you know what I'm saying? It's still such a young culture, and people are still trying to figure it out. But, yeah, it's an interesting discussion. I didn't mean to get too deep into that, but...
oh, no worries, man. My bad.
No. It was dope, but I'm always looking, and I'm always trying to figure out the masses and why they follow what they follow and how the media controls them. And Fishbone should be doing shows in front of 5,000 people every night.